The Samsung Galaxy A17 5G is Samsung's latest entry-level mid-range phone, aimed at buyers who want a reliable smartphone without paying flagship prices. On the surface, it looks like a modest upgrade over last year's Galaxy A16, and much of its appeal comes from Samsung's design language and long-term software support, rather than breakthrough new features. One of the biggest visual changes this year is in the build. Instead of the glossy finish we saw previously, the A17 now comes with a matte back made from glass fiber, which not only feels more refined, but also reduces fingerprints. The frame, however, is still plastic, which is expected at this price point. Samsung has managed to slim the device slightly, making it lighter and easier to handle. Another noteworthy change is in the main rear camera, which now includes optical image stabilization for steadier shots, though unfortunately, the phone still lacks native 4K video recording. As for durability, the A17 maintains its IP54 rating, meaning it can handle dust and light splashes, but nothing more serious. The screen experience will feel familiar if you've used Samsung's recent budget devices. The A17 still features a 6.7-inch OLED display with a 1080p resolution and a 90Hz refresh rate. The panel delivers sharp details and vibrant contrast, as you'd expect from OLED, though it misses out on premium perks such as HDR video support. Samsung has added Gorilla Glass Victus protection this year, giving it extra durability against scratches and minor drops, which is a welcome improvement. Unfortunately, the brightness hasn't improved. In fact, it's slightly worse than the A16. In our tests, manual brightness topped out at around 350 nits, while auto mode reached just under 750 nits, which is acceptable indoors but less than ideal for bright outdoor conditions. The 90Hz refresh rate does make scrolling and animations smoother, but since it isn't adaptive, it doesn't automatically lower to save battery life. Audio remains one of the weaker areas. Like its predecessor, the A17 has only a single bottom-firing loudspeaker instead of a stereo setup. While the speaker gets loud enough, the sound profile is fairly flat and can distort at higher volumes, so it's not the best option if you often watch videos or listen to music without headphones. Biometrics are handled through a side-mounted fingerprint reader built into the power button, which is both fast and reliable. Storage options include either 128 GB or 256 GB, and you can expand further with a micro SD card, something Samsung continues to offer while many competitors have dropped it. On the software side, the Galaxy A17 ships with Android 15 skinned with Samsung's One UI 7. While you don't get the more advanced AI-driven features found on Samsung's flagships, you do get useful tools such as Circle to search and a smooth, familiar interface. Samsung's software support is one of the strongest in the industry, and the A17 will receive 7 years of major OS upgrades, a remarkable commitment for a budget device. The only caveat is whether the hardware will still feel adequate 7 years from now, given that it's already showing limitations at launch. That brings us to performance. The phone is powered by Samsung's own Exynos 1330 chipset, the same one that ran last year's Galaxy A16. While capable of handling basic tasks, it lags behind some competitors in both benchmarks and real-world use. In our testing, we noticed stutters and slowdowns during everyday activities, especially on the variant with just 4 GB of RAM. Opting for the 8 GB model will improve things, but that also pushes the price higher, where rivals with stronger processors become more attractive. Thermals are controlled reasonably well, but overall, the performance experience is not as smooth as we'd like in 2025, especially for multitasking and gaming. Battery life is another area where the Galaxy A17 delivers average but not standout results. It houses a 5,000 mAh cell, the same capacity as its predecessor. In testing, it achieved just under 12 hours of active screen use, which is decent for day-to-day usage, but falls short of leading competitors in the same category. Charging remains capped at 25 watts, and while that's not particularly fast by today's standards, it gets the job done. With the right charger, you can expect around 50% in half an hour and a full charge in about 80 minutes. Unfortunately, Samsung still doesn't include a charger in the box, so you'll need to buy one separately if you don't already own a compatible adapter. Now, let's talk cameras. The rear setup includes a 50-megapixel main camera with OIS, a basic ultrawide, and a 2-megapixel macro lens. In good lighting, the main camera captures vibrant and sharp images with plenty of color, although dynamic range could be better. Portrait shots turn out fine, and digital zoom up to 2x is usable, but detail and contrast suffer beyond that. Low light performance is disappointing by default, with noise, muted colors, and limited contrast, but switching to night mode helps significantly, adding detail, vibrancy, and overall better results. The ultra-wide camera, however, is fairly underwhelming. Photos lack detail and sharpness, and at night the results are particularly poor, with no night mode available. The 2-megapixel macro camera is more of a filler feature. Shots are soft, colors are dull, and it's hard to focus properly. On the flip side, the 13-megapixel front camera delivers surprisingly solid selfies with good detail, pleasant skin tones, and a wide enough field of view, making it one of the stronger points of the camera system. Video recording tops out at 1080p on all cameras, which is a limitation considering most budget competitors now support 4K. The main camera produces decent Full HD clips with lively colors and acceptable detail, though the ultra-wide video quality is noticeably worse, with fuzziness and poor handling of highlights. Electronic stabilization is present, but not as effective as we'd like. And if you attempt to record in 4K through a third-party app, you'll lose stabilization altogether. Low-light video performance is weak, with noisy footage and very limited dynamic range. In conclusion, the Samsung Galaxy A17 5G is a safe but unexciting update to the A series lineup. It brings a refreshed design, a durable display with Gorilla Glass Victus, long-term software support, and some improvements in camera stability. But many of the drawbacks from last year remain. Average battery life, lackluster performance due to the dated chipset, unimpressive ultra-wide and macro cameras, and no native 4K video recording. At launch, the price may feel steep for what you get, especially since older Samsung models like the A26 and A36 have dropped in price and offer more capable hardware. Unless the A17 sees a discount, it's difficult to recommend over either last year's A16 or similarly priced alternatives, such as Xiaomi's Redmi Note 14 Pro 5G, which provide better performance and battery endurance. If you're loyal to Samsung and want guaranteed software updates with a decent OLED screen and solid selfie,